In response to the video, Bill Maher trashes libertarianism. First and foremost, I would like to say that neither Paul Ryan nor Rand Paul are libertarians. Paul, Rand, and Ron represent stops along the lines of the freedom scale. It's true that these individuals want more freedom than, say, Obama, but even Ron Paul, one of my personal heroes, falls a little short of complete freedom. It is entirely possible that Bill Maher did not properly understand the libertarian philosophy to begin with. It is very easy to focus on the visible victims of poverty, natural disasters, oppressive governments, etc., and to ignore the unseen victims of government solutions. It is difficult to maintain the concept of freedom if you do not have a firm foundation of the philosophy to begin with, because government is such an abstract idea. However, it becomes much easier to see the false choice of more government when we take national or global problems down to a personal level. If you see someone drowning in the ocean, it is obvious what you should do. You should either swim out and save the person yourself, or you should raise an alarm and gather other people to help you save this person. It is very apparent that you should not take a gun and run up and down the beach demanding that everyone help the drowning victim. Similarly, if you see a group of people starving, it should be obvious that you should either donate your time and money to help feed those people, or you should raise an alarm and gather other people to help. You could do this by opening an account and asking your friends to donate money, or you could even start your own charity and donate your time and money to educating people about the problem. It should be very obvious that you should not force people at gunpoint to donate their time or their money. And for those of you who do not believe that lobbying a government to take money from the people for a cause you think is worthy and just is the same as pointing a gun at people, consider this. Let's imagine that you successfully lobby government to create a law to take just 50 cents from each person in America to fund a food program that will feed every Ugandan for a year. Let's imagine further that the government democratically allows the American people to decide whether or not to fund the Feed the Ugandans program. And the program is overwhelmingly passed by 80% of the American people. What a wonderful program! And what a wonderful and caring person you are for lobbying your government for this new program. But remember, 20% of the American people disagreed with this proposal for various reasons. In order to receive the money from that 20%, government must use force. First, a bill will be sent. When that is ignored, another bill will be sent, possibly with late fees. At some point, the government will attempt to garnish the wages of those people. If their employer refuses to garnish the employee's wages, then the government will go after the employer as well. But for simplicity, let's say that each of those 20% work for themselves and they refuse to garnish their own wages. When enough time has passed and the government has still not collected the 50 cents, they will send a collection agent. If this collection agent is refused, they will return with either local law enforcement or government enforcement agents. Notice, the root word of enforcement is force. If the individual refuses to pay or attempts to defend their property, enforcement agents will attempt to capture and imprison this individual. If they refuse to be taken into custody, they will be forcefully immobilized, possibly even killed. If this example seems ridiculously extreme, it is only because most of us understand the end result of resistance and choose early on in the process to avoid imprisonment or death. We'll say that there's 300 million people in America. If 20% voted not to feed the Ugandans, that would equal 60 million people. When you make a law that is supported by even 80% of the population, you are still essentially saying that this law is so important that you are willing to force the other 20%, or 60 million people, at gunpoint if necessary to follow this new rule. Even if it never reaches a gunpoint scenario with those 60 million, and it almost never does, you are still saying that you believe it is morally justified to enslave 60 million people for the amount of time it takes them to earn 50 cents. It's true that some laws are this important. Laws like don't steal, don't enslave, and don't murder. But your new law just authorized an abstract body called government to do these very things in order to appease your wounded conscience about the starving Ugandans. Each law must be carefully considered to decide if that law is important enough to completely obliterate the property rights, liberty, or lives of the people on which you wish to impose that law. Bill Maher is exhibiting lazy, self-centered behavior when he asks for government to solve problems. He is not interested in doing the work he believes should be done to help the less fortunate. He is only interested in forcing others, through government, to ease his conscience for him. Libertarians believe that if you see a person in trouble, you as an individual should voluntarily help them, or combine your efforts with other individuals to create the solutions needed. It is lazy and morally bankrupt behavior to use the force of government to appease your conscience. If you see a problem, you are morally bound to help create the solution. And pointing guns at those around you is almost never the solution.